My name is Sasha Panarum, and I'm an assistant professor of English at Fordham University and the Cheryl A. Wall postdoctoral fellow in African American and African diasporic literary studies at Rutgers University. My research focuses on African American and Caribbean literature and culture, with particular interest in slavery studies and women's and gender studies. The title of my brief reflection today is Google and the Afterlives of Olaudah Equiano. And I'm just going to share my screen. On June 28, 2019, Google announced plans to build a private subsea cable named Equiano that would connect Africa to Europe. Beginning in Portugal and ending in South Africa, with branches that extend to the islands of St. Helena, Nigeria, and Togo, the over 9,000-mile cable is designed to deliver high-speed internet to the west coast of Africa. According to Google, each of their 14 private subsea cables carry the names of historical luminaries. In this regard, Equiano is no different. Named after the Nigerian-born, formerly enslaved, and later British citizen Olaudah Equiano, who vehemently opposed the slave trade and sought to abolish slavery, the subsea cable situates Equiano among those to be remembered. His autobiography, The Interesting Narrative of the Life of Olaudah Equiano, or Gustavus Vassa the African, remains the only narrative to not only describe his life in Nigeria prior to the arrival of captors, but also the experience of being seized, sold, and trafficked across the Atlantic Ocean. The subsea cable is not the first example where Google utilized Equiano's name and image. We need only consult the Google Doodle that the company published on October 16, 2017, celebrating what would have been Equiano's 272nd birthday. Framed by rope and set against a backdrop where two slave ships sail atop the watery seas and broken chains on both sides of Equiano, who is featured writing with a feather pen, this image gestures to his importance as an African writer and abolitionist. Yet, even as a certain set of ideas cohere around his identity, for a public who may not be familiar with him, Google's claim to and of Equiano, whether through the doodle or the cable, function as capitalist appropriations of historical identities and legacies. The cable, which bears Equiano's name, entirely disregards how the Atlantic is a site of deep corporeal, material, and symbolic violence for those forced to cross it. The technological infrastructure that symbolically returns Equiano to a sea that he successfully crossed centuries ago recalls the more than 2 million Africans whose lives did not share the same fate, including some of whom became what Equiano himself would describe as, quote, inhabitants of the deep. What I find most intriguing about the Google Doodle is Equiano's peculiar positionality. His body not only breaks the chains and ropes that surround him, but also literally ruptures the term Google, which is written in cursive script, recalling penmanship widespread across colonial archives. In the image, Equiano is figured as the portal to the search engine, and even as that which may emerge from its search capacities. If taken as such, then the rendering of Equiano raises, rather unintentionally, really important questions, including what is the relationship between Blackness and Black aesthetics to knowledge production? How do we understand the relationship between the infrastructural, the cables, and the superstructural, the image? Is it possible to write or draw a history of the Middle Passage that might inform our present and our future? In many ways, the Google Doodle of Equiano provides an occasion to consider seriously the relationship between the Middle Passage and modernity. My own research departs from these two Google illustrations. While I may not be interested in the Google Corporation itself or subsea technological infrastructure, questions about how to engage transatlantic histories and remember people like Equiano who shaped the Middle Passage, the journey of enslaved Africans from Africa to the Americas, do animate my current book project. Likewise, while I may not be interested in the frequency at which the terabits move or the amount of traffic the new cable is expected to yield, I am interested in another set of movement, a different set of circulations, movements born of the Middle Passage, Black bodily maneuvers that persist into the present. Equiano was taken and thrusted onto the slave ship. He was held in the hold of the ship, his body subjected to the sway and swagger of the ship and the sea. What if, in returning to his image and his being, his name and his notations, we took seriously the motions that manifested in his physical frame? What if these too signify the legacies of enslavement or the afterlife of slavery? Thank you.